if you want to recruit more diverse people, you've got to know what motivates these people. So what motivates women? What are women attracted by? What motivates men? What are men attracted by? But also people from different socio-economic backgrounds. How can you be more creative in your choice of recruitment channels? Where can you go? And what can you set up to invite a wider variety of people in? Women are typically more relationship focused. So if they already know you, and also typically you need to ask women. Women find it slightly more difficult than men on average to put themselves forward and say, hey, I'm great. So if you've asked them, you invite them in, it's really easy for them to say yes. Then often people also feel there is a total lack of talent. They can't find the people they want. This is the purple squirrel. Do you know this term, the purple squirrel? It's used in recruitment for like the ideal candidate. You probably know, like if you think in your team you've got a vacancy, you know exactly, you know someone who's got all the engineering degrees, has got great communication skills, 5 to 10 years experience, a lot of drive, that sort of person. You know exactly what you want. You go to a recruitment agency and you find out these people don't exist, purple squirrel. So what can you do about that? When you have a role, it's really helpful to sort of, what a recruitment agency actually taught me, they said, when we go to a company, we tell them, look, we've got people who are ready now, we've got people who are ready soon, a bit of training and they can do the job, and we've got people who are ready later. So when you have a vacancy, how can you create that?
8% of girls drop out after A-level. They can do the sciences and they'll get good grades in it, but they will drop out before they go to uni. So I think companies can get involved before that happens to get them into industry. I think a big problem is what they were talking about earlier as well, the social factor. Your friends, you have to make a really big decision at the age of 16. If your friends are going, oh, I'm going to be a hairdresser, I'm going to be a beautician, you're more likely to want to do that. But if you get into industry before the age of 16, so say for work experience, which a lot of kids don't really do these days, I think they do in other countries, which is why it has a more positive outcome. I think that will really help with the drop. I think it will increase. So I think that's something that we can do.
I think one practical thing when it comes to attracting a more diverse workforce would be to look at how friendly and how open are their job adverts. A lot of the adverts have very male-sounding names and keywords. So instead of saying things like, for example, you have to have grit to do this job, perhaps saying that resilience is really helpful to do this job.
To attract a more diverse workforce, businesses, first of all, really need to be sure they know what they mean by diverse. What is the level of diversity that they need in both gender, skills, personality, characteristics. And then they need to live that, really. They have to start looking at themselves, and then when they bring people into the recruitment process, make it very visible that that is how they behave. So it's actually about walking the talk and making sure that you've got a real representation of what you're trying to achieve. And if you have a shortfall in the diversity, be open about it, saying, I'm looking for this because in that way you're really paying attention to the issue about diversity.
My light bulb moment, if you like, is when I went to a DevOps conference a couple of years ago. Went to the toilet and I sauntered past this massive queue for the men's toilets, and it was like, I've literally never seen that before. Never. And in fact, when I was writing these slides, I Google imaged it. There are no images of men queuing for a toilet. There are none. Like, they're none. It doesn't exist. There are more people called David and Steve that lead FTSE 100 companies than there are women. But in Australia, there are more Andrews running companies than women. You know, it's crazy. It's a crazy statistic, and it really kind of brings it home. Like, that's, you know, a serious problem. What keeps women out of tech? Why is there this problem? Where does it stem from? Does it stem from the education and the back? Well, clearly from some of these stats, yes. But you know, what's the problem here? And why? There must be other people that think like, kind of think about this sort of thing like me. And what can I do about it locally? I mean, I didn't expect to change the world or anything like that, but I thought there must be something we can do in Cambridge, in Silicon Fen, that if this is a problem here, then why aren't we addressing it? And how do we do that? Built this network from what people want and formed a place where people can kind of come together. It's like it signposts to a lot of other things. It's not the answer, but it's a place where people with like-minded ideas, views, etc. can get together and kind of talk, discuss the things, discuss the problems, discuss other things that are happening. And we've really just provided this network. People have been crying out for this. I mean, we were approached by Amazon, we were approached by Microsoft, we've been approached by the Sanger. They want to help the group grow because they also have the concern about diversity within STEM.